Some government statistics suggest that people, particularly the young, are choosing to cohabit rather than to marry, and that divorce and the number of second and third marriages are rising, meaning that there is an overall long-term picture of decline in marriage rates. Although it is accepted that marriage is not essential, it is still embedded in society to a large degree. In the tradition of marriage, in the traditional view that marriage is a stable environment, and even in the language that we use. I decided to ask two couples, Kirsty and Tim, and Lydia, who's engaged to Matt, why they decided to get married in their early 20s and go against these statistics.
It's partly to make it official, partly for legal reasons, partly because they just affirm that we love each other.
I like the idea of being somebody's wife and having those duties and responsibilities and thinking, right, there's my husband and being proud of him doing whatever he's doing, but I would definitely say I would be a modern wife.
The image of the traditional housewife staying at home is long gone, really. Now it's expected that you're going to be a couple living together and you both have full-time careers.
I don't think you have to get married in a church because actually at the end of the day it's only a building. But also you see, I think there are lots of people who aren't Christians and don't adhere to anything like that, but they still like the image of it being in a church and the white wedding and everything like that. So, and I don't think that will die out, to be honest. I think, you know, it's pretty well ingrained in society as an image of getting married, and it's a traditional image of a wedding, isn't it? I just think civil ceremonies give you more freedom to do it where you want.
A lot more people get married in a civil setting than a religious setting because it has, you know, no sort of connotations, and you can then have your reception at the same place and you can choose anywhere really.
It's no longer assumed that if you get married in a church, which I think traditionally it always was.
I think we're pretty settled now not getting married in a church. It just felt a bit of, you know, lip service really, because you have to go to that church for X amount of time or something, like at least 6 visits and things like that in order to get married there.
There's so many rules about where you can get married in a church. We're having to apply for a special licence to marry in the church we want to. And I just think that's stopped a lot of people from marrying in a church that they want to, so they've gone for a civil ceremony instead and then they can marry where they want to.
Our ages, and we come into it, for me personally, it was only when other people started commenting that I even thought it was an issue, you know.
We were all sort of saying that we wanted to get married at some point in the future, and then people just sort of said, well, if you get married in the future, why don't you just get married now?
But there were comments of, oh, you're very young, you know, and this kind of thing, because at the time I had just turned 22, and by the time we get married, I will be 2 days off my 24th birthday, and Matt will be 23.
I don't know if I'd have said I was getting married at I'll be 23 when we get married.
Obviously people can say, well, you know, you are still young, there's plenty of other people out there and things like that, but that's all well and good, but I haven't met them yet, have I? You know, I can't work on potential people I might meet, you know, you've got to work with what is here.
It's good for us to get married now because we're already owning a house and we just know we're going to stay together, so there doesn't really seem much of a point not to.
Because we're so used to divorce and so used to hearing of people being living together for years and years, having children, doing everything other than getting married, there's so much of a pressure to get married because it's very normal not to.
Integral to society as a family unit, whether the parents in that have to be married or I don't think it's necessarily important.
I think having the parents in that family unit married, it is a security, not only for the respective partners, but also for any children from that marriage. So there is an extra security that people can't just walk away, you know, at any point. And I think having had parents who divorced, I really know how important that is. And I think, you know, if you broaden that out then as a society, I think it would be a poorer place if there weren't families and if there weren't marriages.